Welcome to the launch of Looks Good Kill. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not gonna dawdle. This is the look. If you like it, let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to prime the face. So I am using the Pure 4-in-1 Correcting Primer. And some people I see like to rub it in. I've also seen a lot of people pat it in instead. So I've started doing that. I feel like it's better for the skin. You're not pulling and tugging and being as rough with it. So I take some on my hand and I wipe it around and I just start gently patting it into the face. For foundation, I am using the Juvia's Place Stick Foundation, and I'm going to just start by swiping it on my face. Some on the chin, and
editing me here, a couple of things. I forgot to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Lilith. Number 2, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video that we are going to be using the Urban Decay Honey Palette. Number 3, if the audio is too loud or too soft, please let me know in the comments. This is my first time editing, so I don't know how it is going to sound once I upload. There are a couple of weird spots where the lighting gets really bright and then it goes back to normal. I apologize for that. Like I said, this is my first video and I was pretty nervous and I'm still learning. So if I sounded hateful at any point or quiet or awkward,
I'm going to do down my nose.
Just give me some time. I'll be the real me at some point. Anyways, I'll let you guys get back to the video. Bye.
And up here. And I'm going to do the same thing and just lightly start trying to buff that in light circular motions. So then what I like to do is go in with my beauty blender and just try to get it looking nice and smooth. Now that that is done, I'm going to go in with some concealer, and of course I am using the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light Neutral. What I like to do, because again I have a couple of wrinkles under my eyes, is I put it on the back of my hand first, like this. And I will take a little bit on my fingertip and just start patting it in with my finger. And I do this with a very light hand. And I try to focus most of it on the very inner corner of my eye because that's where it can get the darkest for me. I'll also put some on my chin. And on my lids as a base for the eyeshadows to come. And then I go in with my Beauty Blender and I pat it around extra. The next step I like to do is take my contour stick by Benefit and I draw a line right under my cheekbones, and I like to go above and under my jawline a little bit, hide that double chin, and down the outside of my nose and under my nose, and even a little bit on my Cupid's bow and right under my lips because I have very thin lips. Now that we're all looking kind of crazy, again, I start with the circle motions and I blend it in. Even with my hair in a ponytail, I still have to pull it back because I like to get it right up into the hairline so you don't have a white line like right here. After I do that, I'm going to take some translucent setting powder. Mine is by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm going to make sure that I don't have any creases on my eye, and I'm going to tap that in and also swirl it around a little bit. And for my under eyes, I'm going to take that Baby Beauty Blender. Also, don't mind me. I know it's not an actual beauty blender. I honestly can't even remember what brand it is. Don't at me. That's just what I call it, no matter what it is. And again, focusing it on the very most center and then patting it out. Now that my eyes are set, I'm going to go ahead and set the rest of my face with that same translucent powder. And I pat it at first, and then I start circling it using always a very light hand. Next, I am going to bronze my face, maybe slightly contour. Me personally, I don't particularly like very sharp lines, so I try not to do that. I just like my face to be warm. And yes, I did use cream contour earlier. This is kind of an extra step. You can do one or the other. I don't know why. I've been in the habit of doing both. And for that, I use the Parkway Princess Tarte palette. Looks like this. I kind of dab in all 4 shades, just a little bit. And then I always make sure to pull my baby hairs back and lightly start circling, focusing most of it closest to my ear, and then slowly moving down my cheek, and then taking the excess and dragging it up here. And sometimes I feather it up a little bit to make sure that it blends in with the blush later. And then without putting any more translucent powder on my giant fluffy brush, by the way, this is a Luxie 518 large powder brush, I will go in and clean up any areas that I feel need it. I almost forgot, I do contour my nose. And I like to start right at my eyebrow and follow the natural shape on the side all the way down. And then I'll do the other side. I'll do the bottom of my nose and right around the top to kind of give that little button effect once I barely have any left. In my Cupid's bow and under just the center, the fattest part of my bottom lip. Funny story, I did not really start getting into makeup until I was about 23, I think. And I was going to a concert with some friends of mine one night. I think it was Eyes Set to Kill, Lacey Sturm, and One-Eyed Doll, I believe. Well, anyway, I was in a rush because if you let me, I can take forever to do my makeup. So we were running out of time and we had to go. I get in the car, I'm looking in the mirror to make sure I don't look like a total clown. And I realize that my bronzer or contour, whatever you want to call it, was really patchy and weird and it looked awful. We probably had about an hour drive to the concert venue. So the whole way there, I've got a napkin in my hand and I'm using my hands and the napkin and I'm trying to wipe it out or wipe it off because I know I look ridiculous. I get to the concert. Luckily, if you've been to a concert before, it's typically pretty low lighting, so I don't know how many people noticed there, but I had gotten home that night and my sister looked at me and was like, "Oh my God, what happened to your face? Who punched you?" And I was just like, "I know, I look crazy. I tried to wipe it off. It wasn't working. I didn't know what else to do. But nobody punched me in the face. It's just my bronzer. And I'm really bad at makeup." Or I was. I'd like to think I'm better now. Story time over. Let's get into the eyeshadow now. So I'm going to take my big fluffy 205 taper blending brush and it looks like this. And I'm going to go into, let's do Swarm. And I'm just going to tap my brush into Swarm, tap off the excess, and I'm going to start using that as the transition shade. And I'm just sweeping it back and forth. I'm sure you've heard enough people say this by now, windshield wiper motions. And I have my mirror below the camera. I feel like looking down when doing your eyeshadow, especially for the crease, it's really good because you can see your eye shape better. And I'm just going to build this up until I'm happy. Let's keep going, shall we? Next, I'm going to take Hive on a smaller tapered blending brush. This is the Luxie 229. And I'm going to take Hive and dab my brush in it. And I'm going to focus that tighter on the crease. I kind of come from down here, so that way it gets in the crease and on the bottom of my lid. I just noticed I had some fallout right here, so I'm just going to lightly swipe it away. And it is gone. So next I'm going to take my tiniest tapered blending, and this is the 231 small tapered blending Luxie brush. I love this brush. All three of these brushes are my absolute favorite for doing my eyes. So next I'm going to go into Drip, and I'm going to pat that on my outer corner the most. And then I'm going to start working it inwards. Once I am happy with the amount, I'm just going to start lightly swirling it around and working it in. Next, I am going to go into Sting. It is the darkest brown shade, and I am going to focus that the most on my outer corner. So I feel like when I'm doing my makeup and I'm not explaining anything to you guys, I feel super quiet, and this being my first video, it feels pretty awkward. So I would love to hear in the comment section what you guys want me to talk about, what you want to hear about. If you just want me to shut up, maybe play some music behind it. So I'm going to take whatever is left from Sting on my brush, and I'm going to work that in the inner corner a little bit. I believe I'm going to go back in with Hive, get some on my bigger fluffy brush, not the biggest, middle one, and I am going to kind of work that back here. Next, since this is the honey palette, I think we should use honey on the inner corner and blend it out. And I'm going to use my pinky to do this. And we'll get the other eye. And then I'm going to go back in and try to blend some of this. And I didn't put anything extra on my brush this time. And I think as much as I like the honey color with the colors that I picked, maybe put something else on top of it to balance it out a little bit. So I think I'm going to go in with amber and do the same thing. Just lightly. I still want some of that yellow to poke through. Next, I'm going to take the lightest shade, and I think it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, and I'm going to pop that above my eyebrow. Like so. Next, I'm going to take my 221 flat definer brush. All my brushes are by Luxie that are pink like this. They're all Luxie. And I'm going to go into Swarm, and I'm going to sweep that into my bottom lash line as pretty close. I don't want to say as close. And I like to look down when I do this so that if there is any fallout, it won't fall on my cheek. Then I'm going to take the darkest shade, which was Sting, and I'm going to focus that mostly on my outer corner and much closer to my lash line, and a lot more precise than when I was doing Swarm. I'm going to go back in with Swarm and just make sure that the darkest color is blended and it doesn't just abruptly stop. Next, I'm going to take my Down Boy Shadow Blush by The Balm, and I'm going to swirl my brush around in that and pop it on my cheeks. I like to start furthest back and move my way forward as I get less product. And then I like to bounce it when there's pretty much nothing left from each cheek to my nose and back, and even swipe it into that bronzing we did earlier. And then I'll go back in with the bronzer without putting anything else on it and brush through it again. Next, I'm going in with my highlight. Sometimes I do highlight beforehand so that it sits nicer with the blush and it's not crazy sparkly. And sometimes I even like to take it up around here. And that's all I will do with that. This was an IBY beauty brush that I used for my inner corner. Now I'm going to take a fan brush. It is the SS01 Deluxe Highlighting Fan. It's very old. I can't even see the brand anymore. And I'm going to swirl that around my cheeks and up here. I don't like to use a whole lot of highlight, just a little bit. Next, I'm going to do my lips, and I gotta be perfectly honest with you guys, for my own personal reasons, I did not want to like the Kylie Jenner lip kits. Everybody was talking about them so much and for so long. I caved and I bought, I think I have 2 different ones now. I love them. I hate that I love them, but I love them. Love them. As I mentioned earlier, I have very thin lips, so I like to overline them a little bit. And this shade, by the way, is the Kylie Jenner lip kit in the shade Candy K. And this was the matte liquid lipstick. And when I do this, I like to scrape off most of it, honestly. And then just go in. And finally, we made it. Time for some setting spray. Now I'm going to use the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I don't know why I feel like I gotta shake it. I don't know if that's a thing. Do you guys shake yours? So yeah guys, that is the final look. I don't know how you're supposed to pose for this stuff. Here it is. This is the look. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe for sure. Just remember guys, if looks could kill, we'd all be dead. Bye.